Oh, how's everybody doing? Um, it is Saturday, August 2nd. 10 years ago, yesterday, one of my favorite bands, Rush, played their final concert. And so it's been 10 years since anybody has seen a Rush concert. And from 1982 until 2015, I never went 10 years without seeing Rush. I doubt I ever went 2 years without seeing Rush, except for their hiatus that started in 1997 when Neil Peart lost his wife and his daughter. Um, I became a fan of Rush when I was 10 years old in 1978. I'd been playing drums for 2 years, and somebody gave me a cassette copy of their first live album, All the World's a Stage. And, you know, it's just one of those moments. It was just one of those moments where I was just like, these are my guys, man. These are my guys. This is my band. And my brother and I became obsessed with them. Um, I still have, like, in the first half of the 80s, I bought every Rush button I could find. And I had the jean jacket that had every Rush patch on it that I could find. And I would put all of my Rush buttons on that jean jacket. And I'm sure that I was roundly mocked for that at the time. And you know, and we went. My brother and I went and saw them every chance we could. I mean, we saw them multiple times on every tour for years. And back in the early 80s, it was like this with Rush, and it was like this with Iron Maiden and so many other bands. They put out a new album every year. They would tour for 8 months. They'd go record a new album. They'd take a couple weeks off, and then they'd go back out on the road, and their new album would come out. And there was a new album almost every calendar year. It was crazy. And we did that with Iron Maiden too. I mean, we saw them so many fucking times I can't even count. And pretty quickly Metallica stopped doing the new album every year thing, but um, we did that with Metallica as well. We saw them literally every chance we get. It's like, okay, we can see them in Columbus, we can see them in Cleveland, we can see them in Cincinnati and Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. Yeah, let's do that. Because tickets were $15 back then. They were $12 to $15. The first time I saw Rush, I think the total ticket price was $12. And but Rush was like, and I know I'm going to get made fun of for this video by Aaron Ninetoes and Tom Powell Jr. Uh, but when you see a video from Aaron Ninetoes making fun of me for liking Rush, just bear in mind that he still to this day makes videos about how amazing Nickelback is. But those bands, and especially Rush, was just the soundtrack for my most formative years, man. And still, it's like their first 10 albums, which they put out in 10 years, from 1974 to 1984, uh, is just a gobsmacking body of work, and deserves to be studied and appreciated. But then Neil Peart retired after their final show in 2015, August 1st, 2015, at the LA Forum. Um, because he'd gotten married again, and he had a daughter named Olivia, who was I don't know, 8 or 9 years old when he quit touring and quit playing. And he just wanted to be a dad and wanted to be a husband and wanted to just read and write books and play with his cars and motorcycles. And, he was a couple of years into that life when he got diagnosed with glioblastoma, an aggressive, incurable brain tumor. And and it was such a cruel irony kind of thing, because in 1997, around this time of year, he and his wife Jackie, they had one child, their daughter Selena, and she left home, was going back to college for that year, and she lost control of her car and was killed in a car accident. And a few months later, his wife Jackie became terminally ill and didn't want to live, and she passed away. And he lost his whole family in a year. And that's when he very famously got on the motorcycle that Jackie and Selena had gotten him for Christmas a couple of years earlier and rode all over North and Central and South America for 2 or 3 years, putting 50,000 plus miles on that bike, sticking to back roads and stuff, and just to heal. And he talked about that in one of the documentaries that I saw about him, and he was like, he was like, I was like just a shattered infant after the loss of those two, and he's like, what calms a crying baby is motion. You put him in the back of the car and take him for a drive, and so he did that, and then he met his wife, Carrie, and they had their little girl, Olivia. And then so it's like he went through all of that and he got another family again. And then when he did retire, he got diagnosed with glioblastoma and was taken from them. And he lost that opportunity to see his daughter grow up. But Rush they've been an absolutely huge part of my life since I was 10 years old. And I mean, I can't believe it's been 10 years since their last show. That's crazy, man. It's just nuts. But yeah, they're my guys, man. And I miss them. And I realized that yesterday was the anniversary of their last show, so I was hanging out inside, kind of taking a nap with the dogs and listening to some of their stuff. And anyway, yeah, just reflecting and thinking and just the stuff that we used to go through to get to these shows, man. Camping out for tickets and having to buy a ticket for some older kids so that we would have a ride. Shit like that, man. I mean, we were undeterred always at every opportunity. We always found a way to get to the shows that we wanted to go to. So many great memories. And so many great memories, but I'll always miss those guys. I'm glad we have the body of work from them that we do. But, Rush is the shit. Always will be.